Oh, no sound here. Oh, yeah, that's what I thought that we were getting special treatment. Ok. Teléfono en silencio. Ok. Listo, buenas, vamos a empezar a la mesa, a la mesa. Ay, ya. Bueno, um, here is how and space six. ESP Paulo. Right, but after our session, if you want have questions, if you want to ask sakes, please let us know. We will be here and we'll be very happy to answer anything that you want. Like Thierry said, uh, uh, these are sponsors. Thank you very much for the support. The rest for us be here. These are our contacts. Uh, to hear Thierry, and you have the link. If you have any questions in the future, you also reach out to me to us. But today we are going to talk specifically about how do we move into the fabric data cost space. So we all have the Power BI and you all love Power BI, but there's one very interesting thing that to get data good at Power BI. Lakehouse, it's something that it's relatively new last few years, but everybody that's been working with systems, for more than 10 years, everybody knows and everybody uses a relational based SQL Server, MySQL, DB2, Teradata, Visa, all those database engines. That's what we were meant for. So today I'm going to talk about a scenario on how do we migrate from that department that we had today, that we had until today, but we also want to move it across into the fabric space. We also have, sorry, we always started para. Oh, todavía no me lo conozco. Muchas gracias. Pues, ¿qué tenemos acá? Hoy tenemos una promesa de unificación de cargas de trabajo. Bueno, unificación de cargas de trabajo es, como puedes ver, se habla mucho de familiar, se habla mucho de lakehouse, se habla mucho de la data engineering, las carreras de data science, inteligencia artificial. Tenemos productos di FRBD, ricordate come la generazione dotta del Data Factory, Framing Park.
toda la parte de ingeniería, data science, data warehouse, que todos vamos a conocer, porque necesitamos datos estructurados, real-time analytics, Power BI, real-time analytics es análisis de datos para tiempo real, de otro repositorio de existencia de datos, pero más orientado a tiempo real y más Power BI que lo conocemos para hoy. ¿Qué pasaba? Y da partida de historia, para repetir la alerta, si me acabo de ¿Qué pasaba? Y realmente, y lo vimos en la sesión anterior, pues Power BI necesita dar bendito datos que aquí es la promesa de darle a cada uno de los individuos, cada uno de los desarrolladores, cada una de las personas del negocio, la posibilidad de interactuar con el dato de la manera que más le convenga. La promesa se basa en lo que llamamos el cuante. Todo los datos está igual de una manera u otra. Y hablaremos más adelante de eso. La promesa es que una vez que el dato está en el OneLake, lo podemos consumir desde cada uno de los puntos. No tenemos que hacer como hacíamos originalmente Power BI, si queremos, como decía Artur, datos en Metesa, import, datos en SQL Server, import. Ya eso, como los cuentos de Carlos, eso desaparece porque tenemos que el dato, independientemente de su workload, sea su workload del Republic como workload externo, que pueda estar la data, bueno, ponemos en OneLake. Otra promesa, empresa al día, ya tienen acceso todos a pedir el acceso al predictivo, el OneLake Secure. Ya está público, hay formularios pilar o lo que a partir del leak si desea, y esto permite poner la seguridad a nivel más bajo posible, es decir, la seguridad a nivel del dato. Ya no tengo que poner la seguridad, tendré que poner la seguridad de pasar por lado, si puedo cuando cualquier lado bajo una vía, tengo que volver a poner una seguridad. La promesa es que, vale, creo que, si no hay más nada que decir acá, que haya esto y no hagas, o sea, como, ¿cómo? Nada. No te cambiará. Ahora se le ocurre la subida. ¿Qué video? Un de caos. O no, sí. O sea, te cambia y pasas a después y después. Sí, es para es una buena pechi. Apaga, maybe six. First, in the previous session, we were discussing the format the week tomorrow. Because currently, as you know, that to as you don't have that secret mark get filled, there is this OBAP that sometimes people later. Okay, there says examples on the party high. If you're using the layout preferred pass, if you put your security model, your security definitions at the data layer correctly, you when you connect RPI, whose way kind of fallback it does select it. That's like the few. This fallback. What's you got this what play? It's a unified part. The idea is at what place on your entire ecosystem that you go there, find what is the secure edge, what that specific data. And that doesn't really matter where to go, what you can do to touch that data. That entry, the moment that it touches the data, please secure definition and enforce. Okay. Today you have to put your secure definition to okay right so that you do the first skill putting up RBN. Sí, quiero un poco lo que cuenta si ponemos la seguridad 4 es el si ponemos delectados o directamente que para guardados el Power BI te y la polva para el query para poder respetar esa seguridad. Si no le fue, pues lo que tenemos que hacer es importar y explicar la seguridad. La promesa con Cat Security es evitar esta duplicación y esto tiene otra complicación mucho más allá. Imagínense que es una tabla ligada. Mira el 20 vuelos más alto que pues todo hasta tener que importar después ahora en la foto creas una sola vez implementaste la seguridad una vez y deja EDB 20 veces o veces que ponga todo encima como tiene el autobutter para respetar ese dato y esa seguridad. We are completely off sick boss agenda with block topics time, but there's one thing I need to all remiss. Everybody now it's just adopting data A to the lake or the warehouse. Everybody's forget about something very easy, which is called dimensional body weight. Okay? Doesn't really matter how strong is the hardware, doesn't really matter how many SKUs, how much memory you have. The moment that you start putting those semantic model on top of it, if you have that structure, that data scientist as well, you bet big, hey,
everything there, they just want filter. It's never going to scale. It's never going to perform well. You need to remember that the gimbal information that he wrote for us 20 plus years ago, it's still super powered. And it's going to be the difference between spending 1,000 and spending 500. Okay? I'm not talking about performance, I'm talking about cost. Okay? Good dimensional modeling will save, but sorry, just speed lane sprint have-to-have references. I added the short to the URL. So pka.ms, it's our own specific URL. We have a direct shortcut place. If you put the EMS fabric, you will get fabric documentation. If you put the fabric build map, so fabric build map, you will know what is coming. And this is the fabric ideas. Fabric ideas is very important because it is literally possible for us to build every single feature that the customers are asking. Okay? Some of them we don't still know the customers want that. So how do you do? What do you do? You're working with fabric, you're working your system, and you say, I really need something. Okay, come here. Search for the thing that you need. See if it's there. If it's there, click a vote. The more votes you have, the more priority we have votes on those specific key. You get. And you watch just like you know. Another Artur. Okay, medallion architecture. For those that are voles, like me, sorry, we all heard about this. Lakehouse got a medallion architecture. We had a session. Stay tuned because the next session will be very good because it's the medallion architecture for FBI. We stay and watch. But the medallion architecture is a brand new way, fancy way to show us how we organize your data. Okay? You get your raw data. Today we call it bronze. And years ago, I used to call it 10-0, stage 0. Something that I did some data preparation, and I know CAD my integrated data, you do prepare the data out. Today's also where yesterday it's all stage 2. Whatever we all were doing with these things. So medallion architecture is just a way for us to organize our ETL to be able to know the pen model, you know exactly what type of data, all of the structures, the needs that we have there. So you can go on. But the thing is, everything here, this presentation was initially released to the public. Everything was wait. Well, sorry to say, I'm a warehouse guy. I've always been a warehouse guy. I've been running warehouses for 10 years. So how do we decide? People say, oh, Fabric is lakehouse. Yes, Fabric, wait. Fabric's not lakehouse. Fabric is file-based. One lane is file-based. This is your decision tree. If you're preparing a new document that has literally decision tree, 5 steps to decide, should I go left, should I go right? This is going to help us a lot because decision. And usually I start with the same thing. It's going to add something. Lakehouse es one lane. Data guardado es one lane. El dato está persistido de dos maneras. En el one lane para ser consumido por todos los motores. Olvídense, aquí realmente estamos moviendo el abanico para todos los tipos de desarrolladores que cada quien trabaje como se sienta como. Si le va a ser cómodo con Lakehouse, él va a poder subir esos datos con su House, que viceversa. Y ustedes van a poder subirles de Power BI en directamente. Esa es la promesa. To read data, it doesn't really matter which engine you want to use. You can do it as long as it has permissions to access it, you'll be able to read it. The problem is, how do you change your data? How do you write your data? How do you code your data? That will be up to your choice. I'm a DSQL guy. I've been working with DSQL since I remember. So, do I have to learn Spark? No, I don't need Spark. I actually work using DSQL. Still works. It's the language that I'm comfortable with. Oh, but then I'm not able to use the features of RTI or Spark. No, you can't. As long as the data is there, focus on getting the data there, getting the data right structure, right modeling, so that whenever you create other system, it's just ready to consume, and it's much better for you. There are some limitations that will force you to move right from left. One example, I'm a smart person, but the business model for my customer requires that I do ETL with multi-tailor transactions or nested transactions. Currently, Spark will not be in there, so you need to use the warehouse for that operation, or you need to redesign your process. It's really up to the choice that you want. So, which means that when you're building our own model, our own ecosystem, building it from scratch or migrating, Playhouse put the raw data, that makes perfect sense. Although it's not necessary. If my current system, the on-prem, is a deeper house, and I have an integration system that is loading at stage 0, I don't need really house here. I can leave the warehouse. Works very fine. Works beautiful. It has, for example, let's see that I don't say, Spark does do automatic meetings. Maybe Thierry does it without beginning meet. So the moment that you start to know if your data and break your data again, you still have to worry about file maintenance after the usage of, say, spreadouts. Does everything free with the background. You don't worry. Just stuff the data there. Super important.
Ahora de play, el data warehouse, no tener que optimizar la data porque el data warehouse se ocupa de eso. Básicamente consolida solo en el background todo y tiene una reducción en el número de groups, una reducción en el core de fichero, todo para que te permite estar proactivo en esto que indica la play. Cuando tener que proceso de optimización de todos los explicar.
So this is the most traditional architecture that we have. I thought, like I said in Thierry, this session was called Migrate from Your Synapse Vapor House. Actually, this applies to any relational database that you want to have. I can add this architecture on premises. I can add this architecture without small adjustments, but the idea is I have an for ingestion. I have some storage stored there. Okay, about patch this AELS, got Spark jobs, got XP, about everything. So if I already had this environment, this type of structure in place, why fabric? Why should I just have it, and what changed? Well, doesn't choose what changes the edges. Architecture is still the same. As long as you build your structure well, it will work even better. So this is something that I already just speed to.
Con respecto a la última slide, sería el equivalente de como hablaba de análisis LS versus Power BI. Básicamente estos son los sabores dentro de Fabric. Tenemos CCATs para o CCAT para optar. Fabrica la hola.
Our the system that you have today, you can have data on-prem, on other files, your own file, your own computer. And what do I do? Do I need to create the store systems to prop? No, you don't really need to do that. We have several ways to read data from remote systems in file. What are that basically shortcuts? MPUE. Shortcuts, it's for folders, it's files. I don't have the slide here, but the mirroring, it's actually something super interesting. Imagine you're a customer, you are a partner, you are roping a project. Customer wants to go to cloud, but the source system is still up there, and it's not on you. Okay? In the theory. Right now we have people talking to these via Snowflake, but it's already provided with UIP /C/D. You also have SQL Server on-prem, security. There are more engines in the pipeline.
Y también anunciamos cómo se ve directamente como Google First Party dentro de FADA. Ahorita la semana pasada será también, además, un nuevo producto como Data Warehouse, como de Cloud, una manera de percibir.
Okay, so migrations. Uche as the migrations. 1, 2, 3, 5. Okay. There's always something that I start by saying. Don't think of a migration as a technical product. Think of a migration as a business problem. It is. There was a bad decision some time ago, and they went to a product, or they stayed there for too long, and now we change, and now we have to change to a better economy. Always start with a non-technical approach. Assess what you have, evaluate what you build. Plan and design the solution properly according to the architecture that you want. And start the migration. Okay? Put the migration. Once the migration is in place, monitor it, check there's anything that you fix, and that you work on optimize and the organization. Because most of the times it's not what we move, but what else can we do? Because we moved everything because we had little time. Now we need to use something more at prepare for the future. So hence the modernization. Start small and simple. Race is a part chunk. Automate possible. There are tools available. Use them. Don't be good to view. I can't. I have had many discussions with consultants and architects because they want to redesign everything, because they want to build something new to really data AutoCAD. Don't waste my eye. Don't reinvent the wheel. There's already something there. Use my big map better first. Do you actually look to my historical data? If you don't, leave it be. That's the difference between having 50 terabytes of data on your cloud and having 5. That's historical data might not be necessary. Migration is common defector might be possible, and also migration of total refactor ETL should be implemented. Please, this is it.
El primer escenario, vamos a levantar lo que queríamos de una manera de esa. Ahí permite los temas al eso. Y nos permite también el time to digno, traducir este tiempo de migración. Básicamente es mínimo riesgo y mínimo tiempo de migración. Y luego también tenemos el phase approach. If you want to go into detail for phase approach.
Yeah. So this approach is pretty much what the most seen the most in Sabra. We were coming from, I have the SQL stack. SQL stack has display that has the SSRS, SSIS, analysis services, all those things. Now, we come into a space where we have 10 different engines that we could live with, that we could work with, that we could use different sites. So, prefer to modernize. Your critical aspect is get the data there, get data refreshed correctly, and then prepare a presentation player, social player. But you have so many engines that probably there are better ways to do things in Fabric than people are doing so far. So till this moment, you had a technical limitation. Now you have them available. It's there, just point. So probably prepare to modernize your architecture. It's going to give you two things: performance and cost benefits. The more optimized is your code, your model, the better you're using the tools, cheaper.
Y aquí entra también el factor feliz de decir, no, antes todo era dado analítico, era dado de repente, Big Data, todo era Big Data, Big Data, unir todos los escenarios. No, ¿qué está pasando? Pues los grandes players de Big Data ahorita están creando las elaboradas. Fabric ya te pone a disposición estos dos tipos de gobierno, inclusive más, estamos hablando de integración de software, estamos hablando de integración con Trilcar, aquí estamos hablando de escoger lo mejor, estamos dejando el abanico bien para que cada quien ponga en lo que es bueno pueda hacer en el mejor tu posible.
Choose the best of all worlds coming from you. There, you can base this process of a unique phase. Probably 5 that each would wear rocks. 3 of them will be better the latest. The others be better somewhere else. It's whatever you sport. Use what gives you the best results and the fastest. Might be to Fabric, migrating data, migrate code was always a problem. Oh, if we are engines that are aligned from one generation to the other, things are a bit easier. Well, usually they're not. So, Microsoft provides you with some tools that will help you to move the data, will help you to move the code, and will translate the code for you. So everything is smooth. But there are also borders. You have our great sponsors. We actually offer several consultancy services for this. So, but there are also partners that we are working more closely to help us moving a special case. Example, schedule or aspect wise being a boom at that compensation for SQL Server and Synapse. Super affected. They're also very to do Oracle, Postgres, it's something else. Nest pathway is not as 100 points product. Nest pathway is a product, and the consultancy services they will help you to migrate API, SSIS, reports, all of says, elaborates, same, depends on where you are watching what you want to do, but it's still available. So let's take a quick look on how we move, how easy we can move. We still have 15 minutes. Let's see how easy we can move our current environment into a system. So for example, you are familiar with the Data Studio? Everybody knows Data Studio? No? I have some bad news for you. Speaking of tires, yeah, I love it too, but fortunately it's going. So if you want to use Data Studio, use it, but remember that will be retired next February. So we need to actually shift to Visual VS Codes. VS Code will give you access to all sorts of workloads. You can use VS Code to work on Spark, to work on notebooks, to work on PC Vault, to work on clusters, to make you could do whatever you want. I'm using VS Code just for my data workloads. So what I do is, in this case, I have my own local SQL server. I have my own the Synapse Vaporhouse also here available. I have other databases and I have Fabric databases too. So I have this database here. Okay, I have my database and I want to move it. I want to migrate this database into Fabric BW. I want to do something as close as possible to a quick move, a little Shiva. Okay, I'm going to get all my data, get all my columns, schema, rules, everything, and move it across into my Fabric environment so that I can start doing things that I need. This is a scenario for QC. Oh, cool. Okay, so how do we get our data, our code across? First of all, we need to extract the schema. We need to extract the code, and we need to move things across, translate them, and then deploy to the new environment. So how do we do this? First thing is we go here, and the tool that we have here, when you connect to your environment, you're going to see that there's a new button here called Migrate. Okay? This is going to be where everything related to migration is going to be added. This environment here, when you create, it's going to ask you, what do you want to move? Currently, publicly available, except for the previews that you need to register, you have two options. One is to move analysis services, Azure Analysis Services, data models into semantic models. You can migrate it here directly. And also for the backpack file for databases. If we go here to one of the preview versions canceled, I go here, I can see now that I have 3 more. So we are also preparing to release the migration for the Spark engine. So if you have Spark code that you need, Spark notebooks that you want to migrate, you can also migrate. But this is not yet available. So the tool for migrating the database, it's going to be using a DACPack file. So we need to create that DACPack file so that we can use it here. How we create it, we connect to our secret with VS Code, we connect to our database. We select the database that we want to move, and we say, please create database project from database. Give it the name, server, give it the database that you want, issue 3. I'm going to put this in C. English. Let's see. Two, it's here, good. And I want to bring, what is the structure of the things I want to bring? I'm going to say schema and object type, it's default. Do I want to include permissions in the projects? The no is the default by one very simple reason. Most of our legacy systems that us or our customers have in CBOL, most of them are using CBOL authentication, which is not supported in the entire. You need to use it more secure authentication methods, which means that you need to use the enter IE to define permissions. You can extract the permissions, but you will not be able to calculate. You might use that code, for example, to build the new security model in Fabric, which also makes sense. Right now, I'm not going to say nothing else. I'm going to say yes, bring the recommended, and it's going to start extracting the data. Once that data is extracted, once that database project is created, although you have the code, yes, I trust like Peter. Okay, if I go here, I now have empty. I have my database tree. So this is what was created. It was basically an extraction of all the code that I have in my database. Table schemas, store procedures, views, functions, everything. But I still don't have that backpack. Backpack is created because of you after the population of this project. So once you go to the projects, this is the one that I created. You do right click, press build, and it's going to start population. It's going to take a while even in my computer. So once I have this project created, I'm going to have an extra folder in this structure, which is the bin. Inside the bin, you have debug. Inside of debug, you have that backpack file. Okay, this is the part between. Yes, sir. Is work Vieira super skirt. Yeah, I'm actually rather well supposed to work. So I'm going to use this backpack. Obvious facts. Here it's still running. It's going to be, but let's see how we actually run the migration. You go to your environment and you press the button migrate. You select the backpack option. I'm going to put this slightly smaller. People in the back, let me know if you have difficulties in seeing this. Is it this size is good for the people in the back?
That's a bit tricky.
Too small. Okay, and let's put it as what's better. This is just titles. It will be for the flow of information in the next part. So we're going to start. We have a wizard that's going to guide us step by step for everything. It's going to tell me to choose the backpack file that I created. I give the path there, and it's going to upload. The moment that it uploads, it's going to tell me, it's going to ask me to create a new data warehouse. That is one of the requirements of the migration tool. It needs to migrate into an empty environment so that the system knows for sure that everything was created correctly, everything is available. Go Barcelona. Call it Barcelona. Build it. Go next. And then it's going to confirm what you want to do. I want to use a backpack file. This is my workspace. This is my data warehouse. It's going to start migrating. Right now, we have about views. Yes, 10 views. Oh, temos 4 para esperar aqui. I have to forward. It's going to take a couple minutes to create everything. For those who haven't, as anyone hasn't tested Fabric hands-on yet, everybody tested Fabric. You tested Fabric. Keep going. Great. So what is going to happen is that there is a preparation process that it is a SaaS service. SaaS program means that most of the things that were operational that we had to take time parent, deploy, install, configuring. Actually, now just choose what we need, give them a name, say create. Everything is being done in the background. Using the best practices. Okay, so now I'm gonna put this bigger. Okay, so it started. It's okay. Wasn't fast enough. Okay, so I did it. So the process, what it did was it read the backpack file, it read, extracted everything, made sure that the code was good, was everything was out, and it started to create translation. Okay, let me give you a simple example. The way that we create a database, table, either data warehouse, the Synapse, data warehouse, or SQL Server are different. Also, the way that you do table in Fabric PW, there are also differences. Small ones, but they aren't there. So if you do copy paste from SQL Server in Fabric PW and run it, probably will find out somewhere. Okay, there are some issues there. So what he did, this method created, boom, I read everything. 65 hours able to fly grades directed so you like automatically, but I still have like 6 issues. Let me give you a few. It's going to give you a list of what is still needs to be done. Okay, so this was the success. Green. This was success, and this red, and this is the things that you still need to fix. Okay, so it's going to, the option here is going to be fix the problems, and it's going to give you a list. It's going to give you this is bigger. It's going to give you a list of every state that was identified as it needs human being. This list is super cool, especially because the priority that this list is built has to do with the dependence. So if you start by any random object, you can touch it, fix it. But if you start by this one, probably you don't need fix many more up to this. So use a priority because we'll know best for you. What's happening? I've been saying that there are differences between SQL Server and Synapse and Fabric. There are several differences. For example, you don't need to create indexes on the data Fabric EW. If you're coming from MySQL, SQL Server, any system on-prem, it's pretty normal to have a table with 4 indexes. Well, statistics, 8 of them are multi-column, something. Here, it doesn't. You don't need to do that. So, when we select the object, it's going to give you information. So we get some more space here. So it's going to give you information about the code. What were the changes that had to be done automatically? This was the autofix. There's the documentation. There's a page with the differences between data types in SQL Server and data types in Fabric. Okay, what the difference exactly is Unicode data types and Pasha and Sha. That's changed to Pasha, but that's how the system will work there. Although you have the difference in the data type, you still not going to lose any data. Don't worry, everything will be there and everything will be available for you. It will give you some information here. And there's a magic button here called Fix Errors. Okay? So, once you read to this, you're going to say, okay, I reviewed the code, there's something wrong there, and this is my suggestion. This works. It will not work, it will not work for everything. It will not work for everything. I need 2 minutes from almost then, questions. It will not work for everything, but it will help you save you a huge amount of time getting this thing done. So if I just fixed my solution, I just run it. If it runs, the code is deployed correctly. So you go through the errors, and so you fix the first one, and they moves automatically to the second one. It's going to be the same process, different problems, but it's the same approach. Then we have the copy data. Copy data is something that really creates. I not repeat you run this now to my car, but copy data is the second part of the process. So extracted the code, you extracted the functions and schemes, everything again, you translated it, you deploy your new environment. Now you need to load your data there. So this copy data, what it's going to do is going to create a Fabric coffee job that will help you with the wizard to connect your source, select the table or tables that you want to break, and copies the data back to your card. Once this copy data process is finished, your environment, if it's ready to use, it has the code, it has data, and then you just need to test it out. Actually, test it out a lot because, like I said, I installed procedure light, ECI, and when I was in Migrating both side tools, I love it because it's going to save a lot, modify, rewriting the code, but I will test the two capacity is where I can actually say, check, it's ready to go. Okay?
Detallito allí importante sobre por qué Fabric no soporta, por qué no soporta diligenciar. La respuesta es porque no basamos en que entonces directa almacena los datos y para que sencillamente esa portación existe. Cuando para que o de esta evolución podríamos tener la novedad.
So for those that have big data volumes, here's something for you to research. SQL Server, RiseSQL, DB, all these traditional relational engines, they have something called table partitions. Okay? Here's a funny thing. There are the table partitions. Fabric EW. Okay? We have something called data repository, which is a smarter way least put it for typists. It's a smarter way to make that skibbish is going to put page file. Partitions, if you want to use the concept of the table partition, you need to use para. Again, there's a big table, a big document on the links that I showed you before that have the details on the differences between warehouse and didn't Thierry Spara. So is to have a project that or a customer or something that you're building that you need to go through, review this, just be sure that you understand exactly what's have there. Finally, there is the most beautiful part here. For those that are migrating, for example, an environment that Azure that you have CPD, you have RBI records, you have GTL, you have everything there. Once you move your data warehouse or your data structures into the fabric, what happens? So all your other environment, it's going to be unusable. This actually reads your current environment and tells you, look, I have all these records here, all these reports. Do you want me to update? We'll do that for you. So you move the data structure across, reroute the connections, and your end users will never notice it. So to move the records, migrate the data, and use the code. I move to the I'm not to exploit. That's the job. I going to the power the fabric first. I reports with the all connection. Then I will be create these four process. Everybody understood the question, the situation here? How do we migrate an existing Power environment like Fab? You start with presentation. No, no. Oh, this part. Oh, this area is just pointed to Watsos, and now they need to be corrupted to the new data house. This for you, or at least will let you know what you need to change. Yep, so, oh, yeah, it's part. Okay, but basically, this is, Houy. The cost the reports that are, yep. If I'm used, if you're asking, still stop. In an SQL database, I don't have the research on your space, so I can pull any type of data or any type of workspace. But edit the error up to the sequence. How does that affect place? How would be put to the immediate tables from the dates? Now the six.
Still, doesn't matter. It works. Your data corrupts all hackers. That you need to reapply the security. Like, for example, this is how we get down security.
Skip bit more next to me. We is it supposed to kick I. What's here? To his feature. The next one could just choose that big pieces. Say that good super. So I said,